Welcome back to Ever Evolving Woman, the podcast where we embrace this next chapter of life with clarity, purpose, and power. Today, we're talking about a topic that touches every woman's lives: money. Whether you've been the family bookkeeper for years or you're just now taking charge of your finances, midlife often brings a financial crossroads. There's retirement planning, aging parents, changing careers, grandchildren, divorce. It's all part of life and it's a lot. Well, many of us grew up in a time when money wasn't openly discussed, especially for women. We may have been told to be careful with our money, but not necessarily how to grow it, protect it, and use it to build a life that we love. Well, that changes today. Hi, ladies. So happy to have you join us again on the Ever Evolving Woman podcast. I hope you enjoyed the episode today, and let's dive right into it. In this episode, we're talking with Carrie Pittman. Carrie has her master's in accounting and has been a CPA for 20 years, and she's a financial expert. She understands the unique financial realities that women face in midlife, and Carrie also teaches financial planning classes for men and women of all ages. So today she's going to help us learn how we can shift from feeling unsafe and unsure with our finances or behind in our finances to feeling empowered and informed and in control. Welcome, Carrie, and thank you so much for taking time out of your schedule to chat with us. I would love to hear, to begin with, what are some of the most common financial challenges that you see women facing in this stage of their life?
Hi, Rhonda. Thank you so much for having me today. This is a great question and a good place to start. You mentioned a lot of different scenarios in the intro. Regardless of your life stages, your career trajectory, I think what the common theme that I hear a lot is women need help. Where do we start? How much is enough? What will I need in retirement? Knowing where to start and coming up with a plan seems to be the biggest question and so daunting and kind of creates paralysis. And so we just don't start, or we're so confused we don't know where to start. So let's dive in.
All right. So at this stage of life, I remember being in my mid 50s, and this is exactly how I felt. Many women feel behind in savings or retirement. So, what do you suggest? Where do you think they start if they're feeling overwhelmed?
Um, Take a deep breath. And I think there's three things. Look at your spending, look at your savings, and look at your retirement. Feeling behind in savings and retirement is such a very common theme and problem for the majority of Americans, men and women alike. Women are not in this alone. We might feel like we are, but this is not isolated just to women. From prioritizing paying off your student debt to saving for your children's college, there's a number of things that get in the way and that we choose to allocate our money to instead of retirement. So if you're working, what retirement benefits does your employer offer? I think that's the first place to start when you're looking at your retirement. Where am I at? What does your employer offer to you? Are you taking advantage of the programs or products that they have? Hopefully, many people have access to a 401k plan, a pre-tax deferred retirement savings plan. I would say that's like your best place to start. Is there an employer match or a contribution every year? You want to at least take advantage of any match or any minimum that they're going to give you, because that's just free money that you're leaving on the table, not taking advantage of. So what is the plan? What do they do? If you don't know, reach out to your human resources. Ask them, what do you all offer? They should be able to give you some information. If they're limited, call the provider, whether it's Principal or Vanguard or, whomever your employer uses. They should be able to walk you through the plan more and the benefits that are offered. So if they're going to match 50% of the first 6% that you put in, try to put in 6%. Like that should be the minimum that you're doing. A lot of financial advisors will recommend at least 15%. And that sounds daunting, especially if you're not saving very much. But looking at it and making baby steps and have a goal towards, you know, saving more. Maybe you've already been saving. Maybe you're blessed and you're in a place where you're maxing out. I think knowing of the additional provisions that are allowed based on your age. There's an age 50 catch up for people that are 50 to 59, where you can put in an additional $7,500 in 2025, on top of the IRS, you know, limit that everyone falls under. New this year in 2025, the Secure 2.0 Act has what some people call a super catch up provision, where you can contribute an additional $11,250. So,
Wow.
knowing what your employer provides, knowing, you know, what their match might be, and then knowing your age and if there's any additional provisions for you, just trying to make steps towards maxing out your retirement savings through your employer. If your employer doesn't have a retirement product, there's individual retirement products like an IRA, individual retirement account. Look into those. Some of those have limits as well. Some of them have taxable income thresholds that decrease, but that's where I would start with your retirement. Looking through your employer, looking at an individual IRA, traditional IRA or Roth IRA, and really just trying to dive in and not stop out of fear.
Right, right. And you know what's funny? Someone told me one time, every time you get a raise, like especially at this stage of life, every time you get a raise, don't take the raise, put the raise into your savings, because
Yes.
you're used to living on what you're living. You can make it. And that's been a huge benefit for me to help grow my retirement savings. Um, so, Carrie, what are some simple financial habits that women can implement today to help them feel more in control of their funds?
Review your spending. You just mentioned it. You get a raise, put your raise away. Try to not tap into that. You were living before. A lot of people live paycheck to paycheck. It's not necessarily how much money you have, it's what you do with your money. Um, Review your spending, create a plan, be honest with yourself if you're living within your means or you're trying to keep up with others and live beyond your means. Start saving. Every dollar adds up, whether it's $5 a week, $10 a week. Commit to one expense that you can reduce or eliminate and put towards your savings. Maybe instead of going out to eat, you try to entertain at home and cook instead, or have coffee with a friend instead of going out to an expensive lunch or dinner. Look at your subscriptions. What can I do without? What am I paying for that I'm not really using? Like these seem so small, but they really, really add up and can have a huge impact. So to me, just really trying to live within your means. Like, who am I trying to impress? Like, just being authentic to, um, I don't want the stress of how am I going to pay my bills. So I'm not going to live beyond. And I don't want the fanciest car. That to me doesn't make sense. That's a depreciable asset. Like, as soon as you drive off the lot, it's losing value.
Yeah.
So just trying to live within who you want to be and being authentic to yourself and not looking to other people for, I have to have this car and I have to have this house and I have to have these clothes. Um, just trying to live within your means and rein in if you're maybe a little bit on the higher side of that.
Yeah, and I love that because I actually just, spent some time going through my credit card bill, only to find out I had subscribed to some things I didn't realize I had even subscribed to. So just making sure regularly that, sometimes you think, "Oh, I'll try that out," and then they've got you. You forget
Yep.
to cancel it before the free part is over. Yeah, just making sure that you get in and cancel all of those so you're not incurring charges. Yeah, that is such good advice. Um, what tools or resources do you have tools or resources that you would recommend for women, who are looking to learn more about managing their money?
So I think one great resource that is around us and abundant and free, Dave Ramsey. I think he's got books and podcasts and just information out there that you can Google, you can have access to. See what resonates with you. See what area you could use additional help in, and dive deeper into that topic. He's helped a lot of people. I believe in his knowledge. I believe in his approach. He is a Christian, and he weaves that into his teaching and practices. And I don't think you can go wrong with him.
Yeah, I just recently downloaded the Every Dollar app, and
Hmm.
it's a budgeting tool. I absolutely love it. Budgeting is it's not I mean, it's not your fancy fun, "Oh,
Right.
let's have a budget." Nobody wants to do it, but honestly, I do believe that if you're not tracking where your money is going, it's just going and you have no idea. At the end of the month, it's like, I have no idea what I spent this on. And
Yep.
and Dave Ramsey talks about that a lot in his podcasts and his trainings. So I really do love the Every Dollar app, and it's free. It's free.
Yep.
There is a piece of it that's paid for, but you don't need it. You can create your budget, put your funds in, and you don't have to pay anything for it. You just have to upkeep it. So, yeah, I love that. I
Yeah.
love that
I
tip.
would
Thank you.
definitely look for a free app.
Mhm.
Maybe if you have a unique scenario, there are paid parts, but start with the free. Don't ever pay for anything without checking it out first. And budgets get a bad rap. Think of it as a plan. What in life do you not have a plan for? I mean, we should all have goals. Where do I want to be? Who do I want to be? Who do I want to hang out with? How do
What's on
I
your bucket list?
Yes, and so all of that is like a plan, or like this is my wish list, or we have little goals. And so maybe you don't call it a budget. Maybe you call it a spending plan, or, call it whatever you need to call it. But if you don't know how much money you're taking in and what your
Mhm.
expenses are and what's left over, that's where the emotions come in. That's where the fear comes in.
Yeah.
Um, every dollar should have a place to go, whether it's to expenses, whether it's to savings, whether it's to retirement, whether it's to your fund budget, whether it's to philanthropy. Every dollar should have a place to go. And then that's what helps balance it out and take away some of the stress and the pressure.
And I think that makes me think about this. How can financial planning be led to purpose, freedom, and legacy, and
Mm.
not just about budgeting? I just, yeah, I,
So, yeah, I think they're all so much very interconnected, right? When you talk about leaving a legacy, that involves planning. What do you
yeah,
want your legacy to be? What do you want that to look like? What do you do with your money? How do you want to spend it, and on whom? What's your purpose in life, and how are you using your money to achieve that? What does it even mean to leave a legacy? A legacy doesn't always mean leaving a large sum of inheritance. Leaving a legacy can be giving your children, your grandchildren skills, how to manage money, creating good habits, helping them to understand, what it means to save, what it means to invest, what it means to be philanthropic and to help others. So it's not just this big pot of gold.
yeah.
Your legacy can be helping give the tools and um, gifts that can help them build and leave a legacy.
I
So,
love that. I think my dad My dad was a minister and had 5 children, and I think that that was one of the that was part of his legacy, was he taught us all financial planning, he taught us how to budget, he taught us the importance of a tithe. He was just so intentional and, and we got to see at the end of his life, I know something that we all are concerned, or many of us are concerned about. I don't want to run out of money and be a burden on my children,
Right.
and he was able to save and be prepared for that, and God blessed him with a wonderful, they lived in very close to us, and due to my mom having dementia, they moved into a assisted living facility, and my dad was able to afford that at the end. It was a big blessing from God, and yeah, I think that is a huge legacy that my family received from my dad. Now, he didn't have a ton of money left over at the end of his life for us, but
Right.
but look what he's created for 5 children that we
Yes.
can now pass on to our children and grandchildren. So, absolutely, I love that.
I
So,
love that, Rhonda.
Carrie.
My dad was
Yeah,
a big influence in my life as
nice.
well. Very hard worker. You don't spend what you don't have, and we're not trying to keep up with anyone. We are, you know, you don't spend what you don't have, right?
Right?
And
Yeah,
just really trying to work hard for what you have. And that means making choices, making sacrifices, it's all a balance, and if you are just always go, 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 and I want the best, the best, the best isn't always the best, you know? It might cost more, but that doesn't mean it's the best, and so, just really taking a look at what can I spend, and then figuring out how that fits. Um, I think financial freedom doesn't equate to wealth. It comes
yeah.
from understanding your inflows and understanding your outflows. And when those two are in balance and every dollar has a place to go, you gain control over your money. And from that should come a sense of peace and freedom. Like, I've got this. I'm in control. I know where things are going. And I am okay. I can pay my bills.
Don't you think too that it really, like, as you think about it, like I think about things that I wanna do in my life, and it
Hmm.
is allowing me to think about what are things that I wanna spend my money on, and then
Yes.
I figure out how do I make that happen instead of just, "Oh, here's a new purse that I want, buy it. Here's a new blouse that I want, buy it." And then all of a sudden, I might wanna go visit a grandchild or go, on a trip, but I don't have the money, but I have a lot of clothes I'm not gonna wear. So, it's that piece as
Right.
well too. Yeah, just, like, thinking about what do you want your life to look like, and then financially, how do you get to that point?
And I think what is a true need versus what is a want? You
Yeah,
know? You might want 10 dresses, but where are you gonna wear them all to, you know? And
right.
wouldn't you trade 9 of those in to be able to go visit your grandchildren? I
Yeah,
think we're very much in such a materialistic world and, all of the technology and Instagram and keeping up with everyone, like, the newspaper back in the day, right? It was black and white. People didn't look fancy and frilly and all of that. What do you want out of your life? What do you want to be able to do? And what can you do without so that you
yeah,
can? It's more about experiences than it is about things, right?
yeah,
And so
yeah.
I think taking a hard look and remembering that, I think that's a great lesson, Rhonda, for sure.
I love that. Well, to wrap us up, can
Yeah,
you just give us 3 tips of financial advice that you wish every woman in this middle stage of life knew?
sure. I will give it a try.
All right.
It is not too late to get your finances in control. It's not too late. Let's start today. Yes, the later you wait or procrastinate, the shorter amount of time that you have to save up until retirement, but don't let that stop you. Um, $5, $10, not buying that dress. It all adds up, and that is just it's going to take time. It's not immediate, instant gratification, But saving for retirement shouldn't be immediate, instant gratification. It's steps, it's processes, it's thought, it's planning, it's making everyday choices on what to spend your money and what not to spend your money on, and then seeing those accumulate and grow over time. So let's start today. It's not too late. Um, if you're able to take advantage of catch up contributions to your retirement plan, look into that. Please, please, please. Age 50 catch up for 50 to 59. It's an additional $7,500 that you can put in your account this year. Age 60 to 63 is brand new this year. You can put in an additional $11,250 into your retirement account. So look into those. Don't be afraid to discuss your finances. Reach out to human resources. Reach out to your retirement provider through your work. Have discussions like we're having today.
Yeah.
Rhonda mentioned before, women weren't involved in finances in the house, or it might have been taboo, or yes, it's a personal thing, but also, what are your girlfriends doing? What do you have a friend that is good with savings and planning? Maybe someone has a retirement financial advisor that they really like. Um, don't be afraid to ask for help. Seek out a financial planner who can help walk you through. You might be better off than you think you are. I think it's the unknown, right? And how much is
Yeah.
enough? That's the big daunting question. So don't be afraid to ask for help and to seek advice. I wouldn't pay for help at the very beginning. People should give you a consultation, and make sure that you find someone who works within your values and things that you value and look for. Don't let someone take advantage of you.
Yeah, I love that. That is such good advice, and I actually in the last few years here have decided to work with a financial advisor myself. So the peace of mind that they have given me and the advice that they have given me, and I did exactly what you just said, which was talk to my friends and get recommendations. And I love the firm that I'm working with. So that's very wonderful advice. Thank you. Thank
Good.
you so much, Carrie, for taking your time to chat with us today. And a big thank you to all of you who have joined us to learn from Carrie today. Excited to learn more about this. If you want to join us on the Facebook community, please join us and we can chat about it and learn more from one another. So
Yes.
thank you all for joining us. Thanks, Carrie.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for listening to this podcast. If you have a friend who might enjoy it, please share it with them. You can also connect with us on social media at ever.evolving.woman. We're on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. This podcast is a space for us to learn from one another and explore topics that we don't always talk about openly. If there's a subject you'd like to hear covered, or if you have a topic you'd like to be a guest on the podcast to discuss, please let us know, and I'll do my best to make it happen. Thanks again for tuning in. I hope your day is filled with God's blessings.